You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the July 15th meeting for the Trail Creek Town Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Can have everyone stand to join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance to open the meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. We will start off the July meeting with approval of the minutes from June. Has everyone had a chance to review them? Any changes noted or corrections? Anything?
The only correction, the word 40 is spelled wrong.
Okay.
It's FORTY. That's
And other than that one, so we have any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the June 2025 meeting?
I move to approve the June 2025 meeting minutes.
And a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to approval of the fund report. Has everyone had a chance to review the fund report? Okay. Any questions or comment? Crystal, anything we should know on the fund report? Okay, perfect. If there's no further discussion or questions or comments, I can have a motion to approve the fund report.
Motion.
Thank you, Warren. And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Pete. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then the bank reconciliation. If everyone can just review that, that's just informational. And we can move on from there to approval of paying the bill from last month.
A lot of bills.
There are a lot of bills. It's a big month for you.
Like there's a lot of bills, but because we say, for instance, the gas bill for the police, it has 4 lines because there's 4 officers. So it looks like it is a lot, but it's technically just one bill. It's just every
Okay.
line. And so we do that now with our health insurance. So you guys know what everybody's costing individually. So it kind of looks like there's a lot, but it's the same.
Okay. Actually, I kind of like that way.
Thank you for the clarification.
Any comments or questions on the accounts payable register, the payment of the bills? If there are no comments, any further discussion? Can I have a motion to approve payment of the bills?
No.
Thank you, Warren. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Pete. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Any correspondence this month? No? Okay. Moving on to our reports. MS4, I don't think we have anything new for. So we'll move on to our attorney.
on the MS4. Can I just interrupt? I did put the video on the banner of the website.
Oh, thank you.
It's a 2 minute and 54-second video. It explains how residents can improve the sewer systems around us.
Okay.
It's based on a city, a specific city, but it's adaptable for everything.
And so it's easy to find right there at the.
It's
tip.
right, the very first thing you see.
Perfect. Thank
Well,
you.
no, the sticks, limbs and branches is the first thing you see when you go to the MS4 is the second
Okay,
thing.
fantastic.
Yes.
Still easy to find. So that's
Yes.
that's the
Yeah.
goal. Thank you.
Mhm.
And we'll go back to our attorney.
I have nothing to report.
Yeah. Thank you. Then we'll move on to our engineer. Good evening.
Not much to mention tonight. Really only one thing I can think of, which is 104 Melody Lane, I believe it is,
Mm-hmm.
just right around the corner here. They had a driveway permit request and their application was all in good standing and they completed the work today and we inspected it today and everything looked great. So R&L Paving did a great job and that's all wrapped up. Besides that, I don't really have a lot to say unless you want to talk about the email that I sent regarding the driveway permit and building permit process, or if that's something.
So,
It's further down the road.
Okay, yep.
right, that's further down and then we'll
Under new.
go through that.
Okay.
And with that, we'll move on to our park department. It came up quick tonight.
Yeah.
If we can have you go over to the podium so you have a microphone, that would be great.
I press on, right?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So I guess I'll start with the Hacienda Give Back Night. We raised $374.63 from our Give Back Night. So I thought that was pretty good. So they had $1,800 in sales. And we got 20% of that.
Nice.
So we should be getting a check this week. And we'll use that towards the purchase of playground equipment, like we said we would. And then we just plan to host more give back nights in the future or days, because it's really all day, it's not a night. And then progress grants, the Unity grant has been completed. And I haven't heard back from the HFL grant, but I was looking on some emails and they both look like we'll hear back by August, hopefully. And then I need to know when we should order mulch for the playgrounds. Because I don't know when would be a good time to do this. Because I know you're very busy, but it needs to get done and we need to find like volunteers to move it and spread it and stuff. So if you have any idea, it'd be really good to know.
Check.
Okay. Oh, I get it. You're busy. Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
And then if you're looking to do a work day out there, make sure that you coordinate with Dave so we can make sure when it's delivered to the right spot. And then our whoever volunteers to come out that day can help spread it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Get it all done in one day, probably like a weekend or something like that.
I would say deliver on Friday, do the work on Saturday.
Yeah, something like that.
Ideally, we would have that in place well before the Fall Fest though, so that.
Yeah. I mean, it should because there's concrete exposed. So, okay, that's done. And then I was just curious if you had an update on the fifth park board member or if that's.
That is on the agenda for this
On the
evening.
Agenda.
What about the Zoom meetings? Yeah. Oh, okay, sounds good. Okay, gotcha. And then here. Fall budget, estimated budget. Together. You guys can copies, but whoever is interested. sponsors right now. We do have some vendors. We have 23 vendors so far that have signed up. We need sponsors to help cover the cost of, having the festival. So that's one thing we're looking for. And then about shirts, because maybe we could make some money from that too by selling t-shirts and stuff.
Do you have a design in mind for this year yet or no?
It's really
Do you?
cute.
Okay.
It's gonna have pumpkins and it's gonna say Trail Creek and then Fall Festival 2025. So, yeah. Have to be cute. Everything must be cute. So yeah, do you have any questions about expenses? I know we have music for $200, I'm thinking, $100 an hour. It depends on how many band members there are because Jake Griffin isn't available this year. So my dad is a musician and then he's got his other musician buddy that they play together with, and they play like all kinds of music, like family friendly things.
Fantastic.
So then there's like to do 150 because we ran out last time. And then face painting, the bounce house, a generator to keep the bounce house going. And then of course we'decorations and the t-shirts are pending as far as the next.
And you got the email I sent you that Crystal sent me the invoice?
I did. I
okay.
did. Yeah, so I mean, that's a good, and I had a contact, yeah, I had contacted them and they were able to send that to me too. But if we do more colors, the more colors that are in the shirt, the more expensive it's gonna do.
Right.
Also, if we choose like a more like a 50-50 blend, that's gonna be more expensive too. So we have to take that stuff into consideration. So I'm thinking maybe just one color and then just some cute design on it. That'll cut down costs. So any questions with that? Nope. Okay.
So I was going to ask about sponsorships. What are your sponsorship levels, or are you just looking for people to?
Oh, I don't have that paper with me, but yes, we do have sponsorship levels. So there's the, the highest, I think that's platinum. That's like over $5,000. It would be, recognition. You would be, you would have a sign at the park with, your logo or your name, as, a thank you. Any kind of publicity, social media, things like that. And then it just, goes down further. I think the next one is like 2,000 and then 1,000 and then, 500. But I can get that information out if you guys need it.
Is it on the Facebook page or the website yet?
I don't think it's on the website. I've just been emailing it to potential sponsors. But I think that would be good to have it on the website.
If we could scan it in somehow and get it on the website, then we can add it to the Facebook page as well. Or at least a link to a file on the Facebook page.
Is that sponsorship separate from the playground sponsorship?
It should be.
It is.
Because I think the playground is the 5,000 and
Yeah, you're right.
I think it was
Mhm.
$500 for the
So I'm thinking
Fall
about the
festival.
playground. Yeah, it's confusing trying to manage the
Mhm.
playground
Right.
stuff and,
And the event.
and as far as keeping the sponsors separate and, who's, paying money for what. So yeah, I'll get that figured out.
Okay.
Um,
And then what's the date on the fall festival?
October 18th from 12 to 4.
I know we've talked about that a few times, but it never helps to have a reminder.
Plan, plan, plan.
Ew.
Awesome. Can I ask who they are? Okay, it's secret information. So if there's no other questions for that,
I have just a suggestion. So you said you had 23 vendors that have signed up.
that's what the Google forms
Okay.
says.
If I had a suggestion, only a few people have come in and paid. So if you could maybe contact those people for a reminder to come in
Mhm.
and pay that fee,
Okay,
because like I said, it's only a handful.
yeah, and I have on that application, please pay.
Yeah.
to see
So
if you fill this.
You
out.
might have, I can
Okay.
give you a printout of I can send you the Google Doc that we have a spreadsheet
Sure.
for who has paid. I
Yeah.
think it's maybe 4 or 5 people. So
Okay, That's a little
Okay.
disappointing, but yeah, that would be great.
Does that fee that they pay go into the community events? Or where does that go?
It should.
It creates for a donation, so
Oh,
it'll go into the
okay.
donation, just like for your vendors and your,
Yeah,
and your,
donation funds for them?
no, we have one, anybody that donates, so you have, and technically that's a donation because they're donating to
Right.
be into it. So you'll have your donation, and then for your people that sign up to wanna, your golds or silvers, I think it was last year it was 500 for gold, or
Don't they need two donation funds?
Yeah,
though?
one for the festival and
One for the festival
playground.
and one for
for
the
the playground. Yes, I'm
Oh,
sorry. I thought we were still talking about Fall Fest, not
Okay.
playground equipment. Yes, there is two.
There's two.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good. Good to know. Um. Okay, so the next thing I was curious about is, so, there's I guess you call it the appropriations for, park maintenance, park playground supplies, repairs to equipment, all of those have different amounts in them. Which one of those can we actually use to go towards, purchasing playground equipment? Because to me, it sounds like a lot of them could go towards, playground equipment.
So the one that actually says equipment is the one that you have to use for that. So you can't use community events for
Well, no,
playground.
I mean, like,
or-
I didn't include that one, but like playground supplies, like, we need supplies to put in this playground. We need supplies to maintain this playground. All of that comes,
So your
I think
supplies, I believe, if I remember correctly, are your doggy bags for your parks. Anything like that, that's a supply. The equipment would be any kind of structure.
okay.
Where would
Including-
mulch go under?
Well, you could
That
put
would
that
be
as
maintenance
a
supply.
maintenance supply
That's
because
supply.
it's,
Okay. All right. Extra money that I would think doesn't get used that would be nice if we could put towards something like that,
there is a way that the board can,
Right, we can reallocate certain funds from one to the next. There are some things that we cannot move. But there are some that we can.
Okay,
We can talk about that.
okay. So like for next year, reallocating them and putting them into, because we can't pay for it till next
So
year.
we can encumber those funds for certain purposes, for
Okay.
specific purposes. So if we don't use everything this year, for example.
Yeah.
Then we can encumber that for next year as an expense.
Perfect, perfect. Okay. So that's that. And then the last thing I want to touch on is Comcast.
Mhm.
I have some questions about it. So I was looking through the budgets or whatever you call it, the appropriation history for like these past couple years. And especially for 2024, we paid a total of like $1,458 for Comcast. So I'm guessing that's for the video surveillance. Is there anything else that Comcast bill is paying for besides video surveillance?
I don't believe so at this time. Not at the parks.
Which,
Well, for the video.
video? How many Okay, well, I have a question because there's gum stuck to the camera. I don't know how long it's been. And I was just curious how often. And who's checking. Answer that.
I think that would be a question that we should answer outside of here, only for safety purposes and,
Okay, well, because if we are spending that much money on these cameras and they're not recording anything because it's blocked, I mean, that's a waste of money to me. I mean, I'm not trying to, ruffle
I
any
understand your
feathers.
point. When did you don't?
Morning.
Okay.
So yeah, but like the fact that we're spending this money on for possible, I'm guessing possible vandalism. When,
So
I
here-
mean,
Here's the thing, and I don't mean to cut you off with this, but that's the kind of thing that they can't check every day because they've got 900 homes and 2,000 residents and every square mile of our town to be patrolling. So if there's something else going on, it's going to take precedence over them getting out of the car and checking the camera. Now, if someone notices it, we kind of count on our street department when they're out mowing to check on things. Or if Steve and his crew are able to do a walkthrough, that's fantastic. But our residents are typically very good at reporting those things.
so we don't really need it then, because we could save a lot of money.
No, the reason it's there is because we've had some vandalism down there, and that's it's actually, they do record when they're not blocked. So like if there was an incident that happened down there and someone needed that video, Steve does have access to that. I'm sure that the town has access in other ways, but I
Does
know that the
cost
police
of
department
the
typically can
vandalism
do that.
outweigh the cost of what we're paying for this every year? I mean.
So let me ask you this, if something happened to you or your family down there, okay, and come up with whatever you would like to. If there was an incident there and you wanted it recorded, you wanted to find out if there was video, would you feel better having that video surveillance or not having it available?
Well, I mean, if it's never checked, I mean. You
I,
know,
I think that's a discussion to have outside of here.
that's what we have police for.
It's not something that's worth arguing about, but they are worth the money. We've
Okay.
had incidents that have been caught on there before.
Okay. Um,
So it is worth the money. I know it's expensive, but it is worth it.
okay.
We've actually talked about putting one here to capture this area of Congdon Park with the pavilion and the playground equipment as well. We haven't done it yet, but it has been discussed in the past. Because there have been incidents there that have been reported that can't do anything about because we didn't see it happen.
Okay. That's what I just wanted to check in about because I had some questions about that and I feel like I should be able to ask questions, you know.
Some of those questions might be appropriate here, some of them might not. If it's about the security system specifically, that can't be discussed
I
publicly.
understand. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I don't see our building inspector here this evening. I know that for planning and zoning, we have a few names that have been submitted for approval for the boards.
Yep.
And so that should go under new business if we can add that to the agenda. And that will bring up our police department.
Good evening. The only thing I've got tonight is Halloween is coming up. I think we're 90 days away. And we're looking to do what we've done in the past, and that's have the seek out donations for the supplies that we need. In the last couple of years, we've been averaging roughly 2,400 pieces of candy, almost 800 cups, over 30 gallons of hot chocolate, and we'll probably increase that this year because we keep running out. So if you know anybody who is willing to underwrite that, that'd be awesome. Just have them get a hold of me. You guys, or if any of you know anybody, that'd be great. But other than that, that's all I've got.
Thank you very much.
You guys have anything for me?
Not at this time.
As always, we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Steve.
And we'll move on to the street department for the evening.
Real quick, I'll start. We're getting everything else here. The parks, Nelson Park, since we're talking a lot about that, the fencing, I think, is done out there, at the ballpark finally. So all that's up, as well as it's called the border fence, if you will. That's been corrected and put back up and all that kind of stuff. Bees, those were, yeah, we we had a little bit of fun with those. So yeah, that was taken care of. So at least the kids didn't have to deal with that stuff. So that was taken care of. Other than that, as far as the street department in general, things are pretty good. Equipment's pretty good. All except the leaf machine. I handed out a lot of stuff to you guys, the quotes that I was told to kind of start looking at, getting and exploring. Before I get into that packet though, I want to talk about BEC is our supplier. Usually that's where we bought the machine we have right now, Brown Equipment out of Fort Wayne. Spoke to them. They're willing to revisit it, kind of taking on to our last conversation here at the special meeting. They're going to revisit the trade-in value of the machine we currently have. He hasn't given me any numbers. I was hoping to have that by today. They've had plenty of time as far as that part goes, but the other part of it is fixing it. They gave us that quote, if you recall, at $15,000 roundabout on what's known, what they need to do and everything like that. So that said, they do not have, well, they do have some other different machine options that we could use. I misspoke or misunderstood them when I originally talked to them. Even the 15-yard machine is going to require a CDL because that requires a 1-ton truck. Ours are 3/4 ton. The pickups are and all that. And as we know, you hook onto those dump trucks, and that's going to require CDL instantly. So that the whole CDL thing's still right there, still in place, still a big driver. There's one machine they do have. They're talking about bringing it up here the week of the 28th of July. I don't have an exact date yet. And it's a mulch mule, but I've looked at stuff, YouTube done everything they've told me, check it out. And I don't think that's going to work here with the volume of leaves that we have and deal with. So anyhow, we'll take a look at it, give it its due. But Hoosier Equipment was the other one I spoke of at the end of the last meeting. Spoke with Zach over there, the owner. He came out, went over everything, looked at our machines, says, yeah, I've got several of those machines that he actually has acquired over the years within their inventory. It's not what they use or sell, but in trade-ins, they've gotten them. He knows how to work on them, knows how to get through them. He looked at all of our stuff. In that packet, the first page is a repair quote, just like BEC offered up at 15. Zach has it, I believe, at
13.5.
13.5. So, he could have that fixed. To go back, BEC can fix it. Our machine, they told me, yeah, probably rough and dirty a month. So we have a little bit of time before the season starts. So they'd have it back. Zach said he'll have it back within about a week. So have all this done. We talked about fixes and corrections to why things are breaking or leaking, the hydraulics and all the rest of it. And he explained some different things, has some stuff that he does on his other machines. So that's all built into this quote. It's pretty interesting. I think it would make a lot of sense if that was on there. But that said, the new machines, a few pages back, a brand new machine, he was looking at a price, I don't know, it's 145,000 is how much those things are for about the size machine we have right now. He's offering to trade at 30,000. He's also offering that he would fix, because these are built on order, so we wouldn't have it this year if we were to order, even if we were to order right now. So it would be a next year thing before we received it. He would take our machine, fix that at no cost, have everything up and running, ready to go for this season and all that. And then offer us the 30,000 on top at the end of the year or end of the season. He comes and gets it, takes it down to Plymouth, or whenever the new machine comes in, we do an exchange, gives us 30,000 for it. And so it's down to 115 for that new machine if we were to go that route. So a little bit better than that 200,000 that BEC I thought was talking about not too long ago. So, but there again, it'd be fix our machine now, have it up and running. He's familiar with those machines and the problems with them, can have it going. He feels confident there'd be no problem at all. That would be good. We use it, we're done with it. We don't touch it. He doesn't want anything done with it. Just bring it, trade it out, and be built and sent to us or brought to us. But either way we go with any of this, if we're to do anything, the CDL thing is still the topic of discussion. So there's just really, I don't see any way around it these days. So with that stuff, and I don't know what to tell you on that. I mean, it's a month-long course. Cost about 5,000, it's 49.50, I think was the bottom line. 8 to 4:30 daily, Monday to Friday. And before you get somebody through there. The problem is running out of time again. Kind of like we did last year. We're kind of at the end, so, of time here, so. Those are the things I know right now. I haven't spoken to Jenny or anybody else.
I have
Or
reached
Sean,
into,
so.
to Mary Angie, and I have not yet heard back.
Okay, I haven't talked to Sean, so that's, I just want to
Okay.
make sure you knew. I'm not aware of any other meetings or anything.
Sounds like we'll end up having another special meeting just to go over all of the options for leaf removal and pickup.
Mhm.
So we'll schedule that before we leave tonight.
Very well. Okay.
That's a lot to take in. NERC, any updates? No updates for NERC. Okay. Then we'll move on to new business with ordinance 6-2025. Find that in my packet. And this is an ordinance amending Article 4, Division 2, Sections 2-92 and 2-93 of the Town Code to allow the appointment of additional members to the Park Board. Has everyone had a chance to review that? What this does is it helps us, even though we've adopted Indiana code reflecting what we have for our current requirements, this would allow us for the appointment of 1 or 2 additional members to the Park Board. Does anyone have any questions or comments regarding this? I know right now we have 4 Park Board members, so this would give us an additional person to vote. If we would at least appoint a 5th, which would be great. They all have varying years, so those are on the second page.
Can I
And
add
you
to
can
that
interject all you want.
and ask a question too of Park Board President? Is there a name that has been approved, or is there a name that is being considered? And there's a difference there, so.
There is a name that's been submitted for consideration.
And so the
Yeah.
reason I'm asking you is that if you're inclined to pass that tonight,
Mhm.
then you're gonna have to suspend your rules unanimously to
Correct.
pass it on first and second reading in the same evening. Then what that allows us to do, and with communication with council members as well as the Park Board President, I've already been in contact with School Board President. And so then we will get together and we just need to submit the necessary correspondence requesting that in accordance with our ordinance
With our ordinance.
and with the name. So
Okay,
on the heels of, if you were inclined to pass that, and then I will work with them so that before their next meeting, they can have everything submitted to the Michigan City School Board.
that would be fantastic. Okay. So if no, does anyone have any comments or questions? Any further discussion regarding this ordinance? If we can have a motion to suspend the rules to be able to approve this on first reading.
I move to suspend the rules.
In a second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then we're looking for a motion to approve ordinance 6-2025 to allow additional appointment, or I'm sorry, allow appointment of additional Park Board members. Okay, and a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, and we'll be able to approve an additional Park Board member.
And is there a name? So what I would suggest is that you endorse that name to authorize.
So Katrina, do you have the name of the individual? Okay, so Jeffrey Ulam is our,
And then you authorize that communication to Michigan City and ask for their approval. So I think.
do you want a motion or do you want me just to,
I
okay?
do. Yeah.
So if we can have a motion to authorize communication with Michigan City area schools to approve Jeffrey Ulam as our next additional Park Board member.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And a second. Fantastic. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And motion carries. So if you would, since you've been in contact, if you would go ahead and contact them again. Thank you. All right. moving on from that, we have some information regarding we have the Haas invoice first and statement, and then we have the driveway and permit process with problems that have been observed and recommended ways to fix that. So if you would take a moment to review their invoice first.
So on our permits, an inspection cost $55.
Mhm.
So, that goes for our plumbing, our paving, all the above, any
Correct.
inspection is $50. So, the reason we have this invoice here today is to show you, to make you aware that, just a phone call is costing us $170 an hour. So we either have to change our permits to now more than that, which scares me because I'm afraid people are going to start doing work without permits. If we're going to start charging them more than the $50 inspection fee, if we're going to start charging them $170 an hour just to have a chat. So this invoice kind of just gives you what we have been getting charged now since Ken is retired. And then I attached the email sent, and then I attached what we've been using and a little bit of an updated version from request. This is what we've always used. This is what has always been working. So that's just an education part for you guys for the invoice. So,
Okay.
because that could be confusing why it was in here, but it breaks it down by hour and stuff like that, so you can see exactly.
Okay. So this is just for our information then with the invoice.
And goes to talk about his email. This is showing you what we've been charged already, so we either need to kind of make a decision how we're going to move forward with these permits, because we're losing a lot of money just on one paving permit. So this is kind of just to let you know what's going on before we decide on making any more decisions about new paperwork and such.
Thank you. So I guess first we need to have a motion to approve payment of this invoice first, if we can. Thank you. In a second. I know it's a lot of money, but we need a second to approve this invoice because we do still have to pay it.
I'll second it. We have to pay it.
Thank you. Well-
Moving forward though, with any more
Yeah.
inspections, we're gonna figure out what we're
Something
gonna do.
Have to talk about this evening, but let's get this taken care of first. So all in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead and take care of that. And if everyone would take a moment just to review Ryan's email, so we can go through all of that. And Ryan, just because I don't know, how much does a driveway cost to install typically?
That depends on the materials involved and the scope of the project, but could be $3,000 to $10,000.
Okay, so the permits that we have that they're filing for should be anywhere from $75 to $100 for the driveway permit itself. And then we would have the inspection fees on top of that.
Correct, which as of right now, I think he's been requiring 3.
I would think that's because that's the way that the ordinance is written. Mhm. And that I believe was written by John Doyle, who was our former town engineer. Anyone have any comments or discussion to add to this?
I don't understand why we've been using this process for as many years as we've been using it. And now it's an issue.
And that would be a good question for Ryan.
I can't really speak to the past because I haven't been involved, but what I can speak to is my involvement since Ken has been gone. And what I can see as issues with the application for a building permit and then the driveway standards. Of course, it's the town's prerogative if you want to clarify these documents and address the things that I mentioned in my email that are confusing and problematic to enforce. If you did nothing, then we would just continue to operate in the way that we have before, which is to say that we essentially grant variances to various applicants because there's no way to really say the town wants this, so you have to do that because it's ambiguous. So that's all we can do.
I'm just curious how Ken was able to work through the ambiguity, but now it's an issue.
You mean basically when an issue comes up and there's ambiguity, he made a decision to make an executive decision basically on behalf of the town to do it one way. So if the town wants there to be sort of a fair and balanced and repeatable approach to the application, then I think that you should revise the process. Otherwise, we can continue to make executive decisions on behalf of the town.
As long as the executive decision is within the boundaries of the ordinance for driveway construction.
I'm referring to the building permit and the minimum standards.
So the permit should be a fairly straightforward process. I don't understand where there would be ambiguity with the permitting process and he was making variances based on the driveway.
For example, the details say one thing in terms of asphalt thicknesses and courses and requirements, and the there's two sheets to the standards. Again, I think John Doyle probably.
We have a copy right here.
Yeah, so those two sheets do not agree with each other. And there's other things that are confusing about them. If it's, if it's not something that the town is interested in fixing, of course, it's the town's prerogative to leave the things the way they are and proceed sort of in the historical way that things have happened. As the engineer, I think it's our duty to bring things to your attention for you to consider, to make improvements on. And that's what this is. So, if you see, if you have, an agreement with the recommendations, then you could move forward with pursuing clarification and changes to the documents. If you're good with the way that it is now, then by all means, continue the way that we've been.
Can you point out to me on this document where the conflict is?
I don't have the documents in front of me. Yeah, for example. So it requires 2 inches of intermediate on the first sheet. It requires 2 inches of 19 millimeter intermediate hot mix asphalt binder and 1 inch of surface mix. That's what's required in the right of way.
Okay.
If you go to the second page, it requires a single lift of 2.5 inch thick, single lift of HMA surface.
Yeah.
So which is correct?
Both of these documents were not made by us. They were made by.
Right, these were created
Right.
by Mr. Doyle.
Yes, right.
Mhm.
And that's one conspicuous thing. The other things are somewhat confusing, I think maybe for applicants potentially, and maybe they're of less concern. That's the number one thing there. Also, the fact that it shows geotextile fabric, we've generally not required that. even though it says that it's required. And that's a costly thing if you're putting in a driveway and it says that that's required. And I'm reviewing this, it says it's required. So I don't like to be in the position to say, well, I'll speak for the town and say that's not required because the town's document says that it is.
And for educational purposes, explain what geotextile fabric does.
So geotextile fabric is like a synthetic fabric that can be used in certain circumstances to help prevent materials from migrating into one another. So if you have concern that maybe the subgrade is soft and may allow aggregate to move down into it, then your aggregate can start to separate. That's the supporting structure for the portion of the driveway that's in the right of way. And then that section of asphalt or concrete as it may be, it could start to fail. But it's not something that we would typically call out for here, which is why we haven't been requiring it. And typically the applicants don't show that on there. But again, the town standards call for it. So maybe the town would rather not require it. Or perhaps there's something on here that could say at the discretion of the engineer or something along those lines that would make it clearer.
It does
and
say,
clear to enforce.
it does say for concrete drive or parking area that it could have the fabric or approved equal.
Yeah. I'm not sure where it says that, but that language is typically just to mean that, you know, if we were to specify, which it doesn't, if it were to specify like a specific product by a specific manufacturer, that you could substitute a different manufacturer's product as long as it matched the performance criteria of that
Okay.
material.
I guess I'm looking at the wire mesh, so
Yeah.
different.
So that's, or equal would just mean from a different manufacturer if there were one specified, but it's really kind of a moot point on this because there isn't even like a manufacturer specified.
So this is what I'm gonna say. Since none of us are obviously engineers on the board, that's why we have an engineering firm hired by the board to do this for us. If there are processes here and building codes that need to be updated, I would say that is definitely what we hire you to do. So if that's what needs to be done, that's what needs to be done.
But understand that doing that is going to be a cost. of
I
$500.
understand, but I understand. But so what you're telling me is we can't afford that?
Not if we're at this rate where we're charging just to talk to residents. For $170 an hour just to speak to a resident or an email sent to Julie or I, we will not be able to afford that. We will run out of money quickly.
fast.
So how can we fix that?
Well, I would say for one thing, on this particular set of forms, I would correct the major issues here, which are the inconsistencies between the detail and this page, which is a pretty easy fix to make. I think these details could be updated just to make them a little bit more clear. So like some of the things that I was mentioning about, you know, the language that doesn't even necessarily need to be there, the fact that geotextile fabric could be removed, the fact that we're talking about regrading driveways on here and when does that apply, all that kind of stuff. If you want to just focus on these two sheets to make them consistent with one another, I don't think that's a crazy amount of work to be done. So
Is that going to cost us $35?
we have an hourly agreement. No, I don't think it would. I don't think it would. And maybe what you could do is, you know, I would say that this updating to fix the inconsistency between this sheet and this sheet regarding the asphalt. And I mean, that's probably does the town have like digital drawings or would we need to redraw this detail?
We do not. Mr. Doyle did not keep anything in digital format. All
So
of that would have to be
to
redrawn.
redraw the detail, that's maybe an hour. I don't know if this sheet is like an editable sheet. I guess we can just use just cover that up with a revised version. And maybe just put some text on here about the grading that says that, you know, and I don't know what the town wants to do. Does the town want to require specific material thicknesses and standards for driveway on private property? Or just in the public right of way?
In the public right of way.
So like, for example, then this stuff doesn't even apply because it's talking about work on private property. So that, you know, this detail should be revised to remove the requirements that it's talking about on private property. Because right now it's saying, well, you need to regrade this driveway for drainage because, you know, that's just what it says. And you know, again, I think that goes back to John Doyle's time, and I can't speak to why.
So a lot of what he did for stormwater control.
Mhm.
And so that was the thought. And Warren, you were there when we did all this as well. So feel free to jump in here, but from what I remember and what I understood, it was meant the way that the driveways were built was to help control stormwater runoff.
Mhm.
So everything from the material that was used to the grading, everything else. And that's why he wanted to see specific drawings and everything beforehand, so he could make sure the swale was going the right way and that all of the water would be directed to flow in the proper manner. So I'll
So-
use my own driveway as an example because we have a stormwater drain there. I would have to direct everything towards that stormwater drain to make sure it didn't back up and do any damage in my driveway or cause any further damage at the edge of the road.
So the intention is to
That was
have
his
certain
intention.
requirements on, well, what, I mean, that's the question is, what it says now is that you need to have a certain kind of grading plan for your driveway in order to achieve drainage.
Yeah,
Desired.
that was my
drainage pattern.
understanding.
So that means you do want to regulate what's happening on private property.
Well,
And the question then would
Yeah.
be, does it pertain to new driveways only or existing driveways when they're just milling and paving a small amount?
Yeah, if you're, from what I understand, just to deal with the, as Jenny was saying, the swale. It was on our easement, essentially. Everything was related to the town easement. And that was where the driveway would tie into that. And to prevent the water from running out in the street and going to grass. So it was pretty much related to not up by the house. It was just all out there by the street was what John was focused on.
Mhm.
That's not what the detail shows.
I'm just saying.
The detail shows grading to a significant distance off the property line, because that's the only way you can do it. If you set the grade of the driveway, you know, 6 inches below the road at the property line, then you have to chase that back on private property. So again, whether that's applied or not, right now, it's just, again, we just make an executive decision on behalf of the town. So, but maybe my decision is different than some other engineer in the future or someone else in the office or whatever. So if it was more of a standardized rule, that might be helpful. But again, it's, you know, if you're not concerned about it, then we will just keep, you know, making a case by case decision.
I have to. I remember. Because of people's driveways, were all different lengths, different, you know, steeps. I mean, he had some on-site decisions because of those oddities of the driveways, whether the elevation was, you know, quite high, and you kind of make a decision, right?
So that could be the suggestion then, that would alleviate a lot of the confusion. Just say that this is all at the discretion of the engineer.
Yeah.
That's not on here right now, though.
Okay, so if I can interrupt you for just a second, Mr. Willoughby, did you have something to add there?
Well, I ultimately just wanted to say, as you're debating private property versus public, that we have a score requirement.
Mhm.
and which the town is working on with another firm and who's sorry, I didn't think it was on. So I just want to put, as we're saying, just public rights of way, right? We have bigger concerns too that you have to comply with. It might not be in this portion, but they all have to reconcile and take that into account, which again, we're not prepared to have all of that discussion tonight, but I think all of
Correct.
those things, again, as things trickle down and funds get cut down state and more responsibilities get put on towns, unfortunately, that is an expensive endeavor that you have to factor into any of these decisions. And I defer to the technical stuff, obviously, to the engineer, but just wanted to point that out.
I think a real simple thing would be for us to update this detail. That would take, maybe an hour or two. And change the inaccuracy and the inconsistency regarding the asphalt. And I haven't looked at a concrete driveway, so I haven't looked at that specifically, but we could just leave that for the way it is for right now, but address the main one. A lot of the driveways are asphalt that I've seen so far. And then just add a comment on here that says, or as directed by the engineer, something along those
It
lines.
does say all construction is subject to approval of the town engineer.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, and let's be fair on that. It says subject to their approval, but it doesn't say deviations, right? So they might present something that is, to use Ryan's term, which is essentially say a variance from that. I think that little nuance of discretion, because right now it's them approving to say you're in compliance or you're not in compliance.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. That's really what's at the issue here is that I want to do what the town wants to be done, but it's hard for me to do that right now because of the way this is written. And maybe if you just change that so that there's discretion involved and that ultimately variances can be made at the discretion of the engineer, that would be a simple kind of one size fits all solution that wouldn't require very much from us.
Crystal, you have this typed in your computer? Okay, so I think that we can correct the 2-inch to 2.5 very easily. In that
Well,
midsection, but then we can also make sure that people understand that it is your discretion.
Yeah, and I'm not proposing that specific change right now, but I will talk with our.
But it would make it more consistent.
Yes, absolutely. And then also another thing that I would suggest that is changed on here, that Crystal could change is, it's not clear to me what the signature lines are at the bottom, what that means. And it's not clear to whoever might be signing what that means. But it says, I, the undersigned, understand Mr. Ryan Laughlin is to be contacted before and after construction is complete. So just.
Is that after the first inspection or the second inspection?
So they contacted me and then I sign it. I don't, what am I signing it for?
So that we know that they're moving forward with the job.
So I think maybe just a little bit more transparency and clarity on what it means to sign here for both parties involved.
Like approval of the town engineer.
What does it mean to sign?
Right.
Yeah, this was not written by us.
Right.
Again, we just
And-
wrote it and. put the
Exactly,
name on
and
it, 'cause
I'm just bringing up what seems like
Okay.
a potential issue, because it's not clear what, when I look at something and before I sign it, I try to understand what it means. And I don't really understand specifically in this case what it means. The signature line also occurs on this other sheet, and there's no way to really, if you had one sheet and not the other, are they connected? Are they one document? They have a conspicuously similar title. But does that mean they're one and the same document? Is it page 1 and page 2 of a 2-page document? Or are they totally separate? Why is there a signature line on the bottom of the detail sheet? There shouldn't be, and would be my recommendation that that's not on there.
So,
Yes, it's the standards. These are the
Okay.
standards.
and we can,
There's no need for signature.
we should be able to make those changes pretty easily. That shouldn't be difficult. And then where it has your signature, maybe on the first page, would you recommend that says permit approval or approval to proceed?
If you wouldn't mind, I could think about it and send an email with some suggested changes and then
That would be appreciated. The unfortunate thing is that we do have limitations with our budget, and so we have to be cognizant of that with everything that you do. And so when I understand that you have a job to do too. So, but when we call and maybe it's a 5-minute phone call instead of billing us for an hour, is there a way that we can
that's not how we
change that
bill.
rate?
That's not how we bill. We speak with the people involved and send the emails, and as much time as it takes is what we bill.
Okay,
In fact, we don't bill by even the quarter hour, we bill by less than that.
okay.
So it's just how much time it
Helpful to
takes.
know.
If you have staff or someone else in mind to do this work or help offload the work from our office to the town, then,
Thank you. Okay, and so we'll get that one page corrected where it has the inconsistency of 2-inch to 2.5. If we can do that, that would be a huge help. And then Ryan, if you'll send us the suggestions that you have for the signatures,
yes,
and just send those to Crystal and myself, if you would.
will do.
Any further questions or discussions on the driveway permit process? Okay. And we'll move forward to the zoning and planning board members that have been suggested.
So I don't know how we want to approach this. All I have are names. I've only
Okay.
called one person so far, Mr. Wayne Brantley. He said he's interested. And I haven't contacted Robert Gorecki or Pavel Novak
And
yet. So
okay, and Mr. Brantley is here,
I believe this is Mr.
So if
Brantley.
you'd like to approach the podium, maybe you can turn the microphone on and introduce yourself. It is on.
It is
Okay.
on. I'm Wayne Brantley. I've lived here for, well, it'll be 10 years.
Can you
This
state your
August.
address for us?
Pardon me?
Can you state your address for us?
505 Green Tree Drive, Trail
Thank
Creek, Indiana.
Thank you. And you've been here for a number of years?
Almost 10 years.
Okay. And what interests you about the zoning and or planning boards?
Well, I was that pretty much interested in whatever can come up that I want to
Okay,
try to get involved in the community. And I believe this would help.
okay,
Absolutely.
Zoning is not my priority, but I do surveillance systems on vehicles, put in your cameras on squad cars.
okay.
But I'm willing to learn it.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
We appreciate that. Nice to meet you. I have spoken with Pavel Novak and he has expressed an interest in helping the town as well. He does own 2 different addresses, property at 2 different addresses here in town. One in which he is seeking a variance, although I have talked to him about that as well and told him he would not be able to vote on a variance for his own property.
Right.
And the other gentleman you've got a name for there, I don't know that gentleman. How
I
many
have not
seats are there on the planning and zoning board?
I believe there's.
We've always had 3 in the past when I looked, but I'm not sure exactly
Yeah,
what.
I'm
the
pretty sure
ordinance
there's
is
4.
Okay.
There's 5.
Oh, is it
Okay.
5?
Outside of this to suggest as well.
Okay.
And I have one more that has submitted her name. It would be Mrs. Patricia Harris, who lives on Johnson Road, has expressed an interest as well. So. And she's a local businesswoman. I'm not sure if anyone else here besides me knows her. Pat Harris.
I know Pat Harris.
And she's been in the area for a number of years as well. So she's got a
She's been-
vested interest
Various number.
of boards as
Yeah.
well. And serve the community. So I would say tonight, if we can approve Mr. Brantley and maybe consider Mr. Novak and Mrs. Harris. We'll need to learn more about the other gentleman.
Mr. I have no idea how to pronounce that last name. Gorecki.
Mhm.
There's 204 Roberts.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, so we'll contact him as well. So the other 3 names would be Wayne Brantley, Pat Harris, and Pavel Novak. If we can have a motion to approve them to be on I think we can put them on both the zoning and planning boards. Correct? We can
Need
have the
to make
same,
sure. Suggest if timing isn't an issue. When is your special meeting for? street consideration?
that is to be determined.
So
Depending
Maybe
on-
if the timing works, might be the appropriate time and we can make sure. that
Can
there's
make sure-
no
Yeah, I would
overlap.
prefer to have
Okay.
some discussion.
And that's fair enough. So we'll,
Just I want to make sure that there's no conflict. I don't think that you do generally restrict in terms of residency or there's no party issues or any of that.
no, no, that shouldn't be an issue. And I don't believe that, that we've had any restrictions on residency or
I don't think so.
any of those things. So, okay. So then we'll add that to the agenda for the meeting with the leaf pickup. So we'll hold tight on that. Okay. Then moving on, the other item under old business that we have to discuss would be the leaf machine and leaf pickup, which we'll schedule another meeting for. So if we can have a motion to table that to the special meeting,
I'll make that motion.
fantastic. In a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So then Crystal, if we can create an agenda for the leaf machine / pickup and zoning and planning board members. And we'll hold a special meeting for that on a date to be determined.
Just a reminder, at least 48 hours notice
Yes.
and a courtesy to the newspaper.
Any public comment this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on. Any comments from the clerk's office this evening? No, and the council, any comments for this evening?
That one, I just like to say that recently we lost a former council member, Scott Silcox, and just like to give our condolences to the family. I've known Scott for a number of years as a firefighter, great guy, and he'll be missed there. And he was just a super guy, and he'll be missed.
I want to echo those sentiments. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's all.
And with that, it seems like there are no further council comments for the evening. We'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion adjourned. We'll see you all. See you all in August. Thank you.